Hey everybody. So a little public disclaimer, I'm about to say observability about 200 times, so I've warned you, but it's in the title, so it should be okay. Before we get stuck into things, I'd love you all to just imagine the best technical person you've ever worked with in your whole career. Maybe that person who you've aspired to be like or operate like. And imagine them turning around and saying to you, I feel like I'm starting my career all over again. I feel like I'm back to day one. And that's the conversation I had with that person for me in January. And what I'm really excited to share with you all about is the last 2 years and why he got to that point, why he's telling me he now has a forensic level view of what's happening in a distributed system. And it's so inspiring for me to hear that for someone who I thought could never get any better, and they feel like they're starting all over again. So just a little bit of context to help you understand. Hair and beauty salon software. There's over 12,000 customers using the platform. We have hundreds of thousands of hair and beauty professionals every day logging in and using the system. We have millions of consumers booking on the platform every year. We have billions of euros going through the platform every year. So this is not small scale. A lot of haircuts. So over the 10 years, we've grown over 20x in terms of revenue. It was a tiny little team in a basement in Dublin. There's over 150 of us now all over the world building this platform. And we've been on a ride in terms of observability and monitoring. And this is something I'm calling our observability curve. If you like it, I might trademark it. If not, I Googled it. And this represents where I've seen us being over the last 10 years. And there's been ups and downs and yo-yos. And there's probably other places we'll go on this. But I really like this visual because it shows where we've come and where we're going. So it starts off, we're oblivious to what's happening in our system. We're just trying to build features that get market fit. And if the system goes down, we probably don't even know about it. And it's pretty sticky. We might be down for a few hours a day. Customers very, very unhappy. We then move to a stage where we're on the back foot. So you might be having lunch or dinner, get a phone call from the CEO. Definitely on the back foot, not where we would want to be. Things get better over the years. We get APM, we have pingdom, there's a bunch of stuff all over the place that's really hard to figure out what's going on, but at least when something bad does happen, we know we have somewhere to go to check out what's going on. Typically, it's like, threads out of memory, or database needs to be failed over, but it's a couple of hours, and it's nasty, and it's not a nice place to be. This little dotted line represents 2023, when we started really working on observability and that shift towards it. And I would say it started off by us realizing things we never knew about the platform, and those unknowns being extremely insightful as to what our customers are doing, understanding our customer pain. So I think we're here. A couple of people in the audience, I can ask them afterwards. But I feel like the next step beyond just having an observability tool and being able to see some stuff is making product and engineering decisions based on your learnings and insights from your observability. So that might mean we need to get this on the roadmap and make this happen, or it might be an insight that has never been known before through observability. So seeing problems or opportunities and actually making decisions based on that. So I think that's a superpower. So the question is, how do we get there? And a lot of work. But it starts, I think I've got a circle of inputs here, and I think it's really important to share. So it starts off with the engineers, where they're all really pissed off, saying, we have terrible tools, I can't onboard new people, it's really hard to understand what's happening here, this is a waste of time, that sort of thing. So developers giving out to me was the starting point. Then our product managers not actually being able to have a good discussion with our engineering folks around why we should address technical challenges, and there being no real way to understand, is this technical gobbledygook that the team need to fix, or are these real problems with the products that we love and care about that have to be addressed? We then have our company strategy, which is all about doubling down on customer feedback, making sure our salons, our consumers are happy with the platform. And of course, the platform has to be reliable and up and stable to do that. We had a vendor contract renewal going on. Typically what happens, I don't know if you guys are in this position, but it's too late by the time the renewal comes up to actually have a proper plan around how to move away from it, even if you're not happy with it. You kind of just go with the devil that you know, because you're stuck in that. It's quite a big cultural shift to move away from say, an APM provider that you're with. In our case, we were quite constrained by per seating model. So I wanted everyone to push observability, use the tools, adopt it, embrace it. You can't shift a culture without that. But being charged an extortionate amount of money per engineer is not the way to do it. So deadlines approaching. Our CFO, whose CFO likes spending money? Because ours doesn't. But he's a very reasonable guy, and through working together, having a scalable, predictable model of what your infrastructure costs are going to be and your observability costs are going to be, and being able to say, in the long tail, we're going to make customers happy, the system's going to be more reliable, might reduce churn, might increase NPS. So having a good partner there was really, really important. Whose boss likes to give them loads more work? My boss, Ronan, CEO, asked me to take on a bunch of other departments. So through working with CX teams, I really got a great insight into the challenges that our support folks are having. And it was actually quite embarrassing for me looking at the engineering side and the customer side, seeing that customers were telling us about issues before the engineering teams knew. So they'd ring up and say, hey, that's not working, that's not loading, that's slow. And that was something that we really need to fix. So that's me stuck in the middle of all this. And I think someone managed to grab a picture of me trying to figure it all out one day. But it's okay, because that's the job. And the job really is to set the vision and direction for your teams. And it's the fun part, because it's your job to pull together all of these different pieces of information and dissect them down into something that you can actually point everyone towards. And I love the model of just put the customer right at the top, then the company, then the teams, and then the individuals, and just start with the customer and where you want to go, and then everything else will flow really, really nicely. So setting the vision there and using the customer as the anchor is how we did it. I'm going back to my old Java days, and I like to think about defining the interface for your teams and letting all the great people do the work. It might work when you're tiny and you're able to have a conversation with everyone and push, 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 but you can't do that with 10, 20 teams. You have to focus on the high level and let your amazing people do the rest.
And if you're enjoying this, Lead Dev has a ton more to offer.
I'm quite fond of the articles.
I feel like Lead Dev blogs are my favorite, and it's been really, really useful to kind of create these more meaningful connections as well.
If there's something you're struggling with as an engineering leader, there's a pretty good chance that Lead Dev has published something that addresses it.
So make sure you check out leaddev.com.
So these 5 words are really, really important in Phorest because they represent our North Star with observability, and we know before they call. And the idea here is that we're real. Like, we know there's issues, there's a million gazillion issues in a distributed system, but we're real in terms of we're going to know about any customer issue before they call in to tell us. We're at least going to be on it. Our SLO budgets will be burning. We'll at least know about it. And that's really, really important for us. That's how we drive this observability shift, is creating that North Star and thinking about how can we know about customer issues before they tell us. So we use Honeycomb. We are super fans of them. They're not paying me to say this. They're a great partner. That's our B over there. Merge the two together. But why they're a good partner is because they're aligned to where we're going in terms of a culture shift. They help us when we need it, and we're going in the right direction together. Yeah, so how do you actually bring that to life? That's the high level. But what do you actually do to get this moving and create the momentum? Like, for me, it starts with your champions. So this is Paul and Pavel, and we like to merge them together and call them Powell as one human being, superhuman. And I can't talk about observability in Phorest without mentioning these two guys, because that's literally them on their world tour of observability, talking at some of the biggest conferences in the world, all about the work that they did, because they did all the work. I'm just taking all the credit for it here. And they are embedded in different product groups, and they move around to different teams to embed these behaviors, share the learnings, do the work, lead by example, they did everything. They do everything here, and then they get the teams to come with them. So I think the champions, you need to really think about who is that person. If I'm in this position where I want to drive change, who can I lean on to actually make that into our DNA of our teams? We use symbols and behaviors and spend way too much money on stickers, but people love them, and it creates a symbol and a talking point in the day-to-day of the running of the teams. We report on it. We ask the teams to think about how many of these issues came into us each month. Could we have known about it beforehand? What is our learning from it? And use that just as a general language and tone around the place. It's not to be aggressive or anything like that. It's more so to learn from, are we getting better here? Obviously, making it visible is super important. So through observability learning, sharing changes before and afters in our sprint demos, this stuff just creates the energy and bleeds out that behavior change. SLOs are one of the most important points of this shift for us. This is basically like, it's a partnership and a contract for all of our teams, our three amigos, for them to come together and say, hey, what is the most important part of the product here that we care about in our domain, that if it does not work, we have to down tools and fix it. So I described the appointment screen. You can imagine 12,000 salons. They use the appointment screen to manage their book and pay people out. So that has to load for over a 2-week period under 1 second. And if it doesn't, we have to down tools and fix it. There's no negotiating about it. That's our P0. So if our error budgets are depleting, we get it sorted. So in other words, if you like it, then put an SLO on it. And she was playing here last night too. So lots of wins to be celebrated throughout this, lots of learnings along the way. Just want to highlight some data points and things that we see in change. I can say safely that we don't get severe P1s, touch wood, but what we do is we catch them way beforehand. So these are just some things that we see in early days and throughout this journey. So one was, for every purchase, every time someone got a haircut and clicked purchase, it took 6 seconds longer than it needed to, so we fixed it. We have a client chat functionality where people can text the salon and move their appointments and things like that, but what we've seen only through observability was that those chats were extremely slow to load and timed out for some of our biggest salons. So we got that sorted out. Since day one of us being cloud-based, our servers were configured to point to the wrong regions, and we had no clue. It was the first thing we seen when we turned on the observability. Our minds were blown, so we had to fix that, of course. It wasn't great. Our stock listing, or inventory listing, took 5 seconds longer. So if you're doing a stock take, you're standing there for 5 seconds longer every salon on the platform than needed to. So we got that sorted out too. We've seen some unexpected adopters of Honeycomb, and I was really surprised to see our product managers in there actually using the observability to ask their areas of the platform questions and make decisions, user behavior decisions based on what we were seeing. I found that absolutely fascinating. Our CX teams were using it as well to get into the platform, to see the health, what's going on. Hey guys, is there a problem with the platform? No, I've checked Honeycomb, we're good. So I found that fascinating in terms of unexpected adopters. Happy and motivated engineers. So this is just a little look at our local development stack. So there's an OpenTelemetry collector that runs locally, and we can, as we build, we think about how we're going to observe the product changes and validate them. So we're really thinking about that at very early doors. But what we can definitely see is comments like at the start and through qualitative and quantitative feedback that people love this and they feel like they're leveling up in terms of what they're learning and what they can see in the distributed system. So our retention is through the roof. I can say this will be a very important factor of that. So we all need to start somewhere here, and regardless if you're up the top or you're down the bottom, it'd be good for you to have a little think about if you like it, maybe you don't like it, you think it's crap, and otherwise ignore it, but have a little think about where you are on this journey, what you might need to do to get to the next step, who could your champion be, what sort of interfaces do you need to define your organization, what CFO do you need to bend their ear on to help you with this, and try to make a little step forward. So for me, some of the most important takeaways I'd love for you all to take back is just to be a sponge, not to get overwhelmed with all of the things that are going on around you, but just try to take it in from every angle, put the customer first, then the business pain, team, and then individual, and you'll get a good direction. Create the interface and let your great people do the work to make it happen, but obviously be there to support them. Don't just step back. And bring it to life. Use symbols, behaviors, spend too much money on stupid stickers, and actually be there to create that behavior and culture change. So I'd just like to say thank you to everyone for being here. It's an honor to speak at a stage like this. And thank you. You got this.